K6ers, I am Leandro Melendez. You are watching KSIX News with the latest roundup of our hottest news for August 2023. And it feels like it was not that long ago since our last update, but our teams have been super busy. So let's move on to our K6 OSS news segment, which brings some hot changes in version 0.46. We have a lot of news for OSS in this release. The first one is that the Loki log output got more headers. And what does that mean? Well, Loki has been able to receive logs for a while now, since version 0.28. But that was it. Clean logs and no way to authenticate. But now it has a configuration to add additional headers on every request. Of course, this allows them to send authentication information in each one of these headers. To do so, use the new header config option, similar to how you use the label option. And for more info, check the example shown on screen, which sends the x-my-header parameter with value 123 and the authorization parameter with value my-token. Thank you so much to Federico Tedin for that new functionality. And now on other updates. The team has added gRPC support for TLS per connection on the K6-net-gRPC and also in the K6-experimental-gRPC modules via connect params. This is useful when you need to connect multiple gRPC servers which have different TLS configurations. And thank you so much to Chris Moran for this new functionality. Now, we have OSS updates. They are related to cloud traces and cloud output. But before we move on, K6 OSS also got some improvements, fixes, and maintenance. If you wanna learn more details about each element, please refer to the K6 OSS release notes that you see in the screen or in the video description. But now it is time to move on to some other elements from OSS that we haven't talked about yet. As you know, the K6 browser is now part of OSS, and because of that, we need to move all that information to a worldwide section for itself, as there are many cool updates. For that, let's welcome Marie Cruz with the Worldwide Browser segment. Hola Marie, what's up with the Worldwide Browser?
Hola Leandro and hello K6ers! There are a lot of browser activity in this latest release with new features and breaking changes, so let's get right to it. In this latest release of K6, the K6 browser team has introduced a new feature of automatically handling the browser lifecycle. Now, previously, users would need to create and close the browser instance as part of their script by calling methods such as browsertype.launch or browsertype.connect to create the browser instance, and then followed by browsertype.close to close the same browser instance. This was a very common boilerplate of code that has now been removed. Going forward, users now need to set the mandatory field for the browser scenario type inside the scenario definition. With this breaking change, a simple browser test now looks like this. Now, you might have noticed that the Chromium entity is no longer importable from K6 experimental browser. Instead, you have to import the browser entity. When you run this test, there is also no need to set K6 browser enabled environment variable to true. However, you do need to make sure that you set the executor as well as the browser scenario options type to Chromium, as this is now mandatory. We have also introduced a limit to the browser implementation by holding a single browser context per iteration. This means that you can't have multiple browser contexts concurrently, and if you do have concurrent actions as part of your tests, you need to use scenarios instead. I know there are a lot of changes here, so the K6 browser team is actually working on a migration guide to help you adapt to the new API. Apart from that, there were also changes to the Web Vital metrics naming. HTTP requests that were sent from your browser test will also now have a prefix browser added to it so that you can better distinguish the requests coming from your browser as opposed to HTTP requests that are coming from your protocol tests. This release also includes various UX improvements bug fixes, and documentation updates to reflect all the different changes that I've described here. Anyway, I'm sure this high amount of browser traffic is too much to remember, so make sure you read the full release notes for K6 0.46 to know all the changes related to K6 browser, or you can also watch our K6 Office Hours episode, which is linked on the video description down below, where we also discuss these latest changes. You can also check our documentation, and as always, ask in our community forum if you need our help. Anyway, that is all from me. Back to you, Leandro.
Thank you very much, Marie. So much action on the K6 browser front. Please follow up on Marie's indications and stay tuned for the guide coming soon as K6 browser keeps growing up to the moon. And speaking of the moon and space, we also have the extensions traffic report reaching heights unheard of. Amigo Paul, how is the extension traffic going?
Hello, Leandro, and greetings from space. There's been so much traffic around extensions that I had to go up to space to see them all. And this time, I have a co-pilot, Prabhat. He gets crazy when he sees Admiral Akbar, and whatever you do, don't feed him tuna at night. We saw a lot of activity this side of the extensions galaxy. We created over 40 GitHub issues for extensions that required updates just to stay listed in the extensions registry. Many have already been addressed, but we'll continue to work with folks needing to update. There was a major disturbance in the force, in a build registry that deleted an important dependency for K6. This caused builds for any extension to fail. Our brave developers were able to create a patched version of K6, which all extensions then needed to use. Besides these updates, we had updates to XK6 Client Prometheus Remote by F. Guttero. XK6 AMQP now supports additional message properties and allows for a unique connection per virtual user thanks to Swanster. XK6 SQL saw fixes for the Microsoft SQL Server example from Leandro Dutek. Oh, Leandro!
Hey, not me. I mean, there are many other Leandros all over the galaxy, right?
XK6 SQL and XK6 Docker addressed high-risk vulnerabilities discovered in their dependencies, which was brought to our attention thanks to .dac. Interstellar Probes also discovered 7 new extensions. Want to create dynamic output extensions using Python? Possibly query Google Cloud Platform services from within your scripts? Would you like to discover anomalies within large data sets? How about read files and directories? Or publish real-time test metrics to ClickHouse? Even testing constrained devices. These were all features enabled with new extensions. We're also planning to move support for StatsD out of K6, so support for StatsD will now be enabled via a new extension. Finally, XK6 Notification has transitioned to Grafana as an official extension to allow for notifications to Slack. Now that's more updates than Moons of Endor. Back to you, Leandro. Alright, Prabhat, let's see how fast we can make the Kessel Run this time.
Thank you for that report, amigo Paul. Live long and prosper, and may the open source be with you. The extensions surely seem to be getting extraterrestrial, right? Yeah. So thank you a lot to our contributors and collaborators. Without you all, K6 wouldn't be as awesome as it is. And now that we are mentioning collaborators and contributors, it is champion time! So let's get ready to champion! On the champion updates, we have some deja vu from the last champion update, as our champions list keeps growing. That's right, we have added even a few more champions to the roster. So let's welcome Donald Lee, Marlo Henrique, and Gregors Piechnik, I hope I'm saying it right. Well, they have already been awesome at creating, collaborating, and presenting K6 related topics. And we are sure that they will keep creating more awesomeness for the rest of the community. We are so very happy to add their names to the K6 Champion Hall. Now, talking about the Champion Hall, we have a lot of activity that has been happening there as well. Two of our champions, Ioannis Papadakis and Yusuf Teyman, had an awesome champion clash on a stream, sharing their experiences as a K6 champion. Check the links as usual. But that wasn't the only thing for Ioannis, as he also shared a lot about DevOps and K6 in the Test Guild DevOps podcast with the amigo Joe Colantonio. Don't miss it for lots of awesomeness. And now for some champion action in Spanish, en español.
I don't speak Spanish either.
Carlos Gauto talked at an online meetup about the path to continuous performance with JavaScript and K6. Oh, sí, perfecto. Next, Sahani Pereira published an article about automated performance testing with K6. Take a look! And last, if you want to know how to run K6 tests in Bitbucket, Rafael Xarpa created a great article diving on that. Take a look as well. So much activity with our champions. They are all unstoppable, right? But remember, if you think you have what it takes to become a champion or know someone who would, check out the link for the K6 Champion application from the description. And with that, champion updates out. So much information, news, activities, action, and space stuff in this episode, right? Well, that is not all. Some of you may have noticed some movement in our YouTube channel on where you may be watching right now this show. This is because as of today, you may find this new segment or this episode in the K6 YouTube channel, but as well in the Grafana YouTube channel. Well, get ready, as we will be posting this show on both channels for a while, for a bit, I don't know. But eventually, the Grafana YouTube channel will be the house for this new show. So if you haven't, subscribe to the Grafana YouTube channel and leave us a comment with your thoughts about this or any other thing that you think it would be cool for us to report in this news channel or on any other upcoming Grafana shows. Also, do not forget to keep watching K6 Office Hours and our new Grafana Office Hours shows. And keep an eye on the K6 activity and check our evolving content. Speaking of that evolving content, some news will be coming soon, so stay tuned. And with that, we have reached the end of tonight's report. That'll be it for all of us here at KSIX News. I am Leandro Melendez. You stay classy, K6. Okay, let's fix these things and have some of them. What's up? What do you want? Do you have the update ready?